Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Charlie and Cara Show. This is going to be one of our favourite topics ever. I mean, I know I say that about every single thing, but this episode is all about manifestation and the law of attraction, which is just such a juicy, divine, magical topic. And it perfectly rolls off the back of last week for those of you that listened to the episode all around intuition and inner peace and surrender and sort of just trusting the flow of life. So yeah, I'm going to let Cara dominate a lot of this episode because she has studied many courses and is qualified in quantum healing in the quantum field, and obviously everything is energy, and so the more that we're having thoughts, beliefs, behaviors that are aligned with who we want to become, the more we are likely to manifest and call in everything we want. So let's just go straight in there. What do you have to say about manifestation and laws of attraction?
Yeah, well, I'm really glad that you mentioned all of those aspects, because you pretty much covered the mind, body, and soul, right? The beliefs and the thoughts, the actions, which is the body or the physical, and then the energy, which is the soul, the alignment, all of that. So it's really such a well-balanced approach, and in order to manifest and attract, we really need to understand how we are magnets, the energy frequency we're vibrating on, and what we're thinking and feeling every single day is what's calling things to us. So like a magnet attracts certain things and repels other things, that's pretty much the same as the human body. When we're going about our day-to-day lives, we're either attracting more of what we're focusing on, and we're repelling other things that don't match our frequency.
Right. I love that you say that, because whenever I was trying to explain like manifestation to someone like my mum or people that aren't necessarily into it, I always say, like, Mom, you can't, like, if you think of a magnet, you can't hold a magnet up here and then draw in stuff down here. If you're operating down here, you're going to suddenly pull in more of what's down there on that vibration.
Yes.
Equally, if you raise your vibrations and you're holding a giant magnet up here, you will get all of that back, because it is a constant energy receiving, like you're pulling gravitational pulls towards whatever you're being. And I love excuse me, I love I've always got a croaky voice when I'm recording a podcast.
I know, the second we sit down here,
suddenly like so yeah, I guess that's something that clicked for me big time. We've got this in joke about big time. Yeah, something that like really clicked for me big time in the last few years is that, wow, okay, if I want to bring in amazing things, I have to be that first. I can't be going around moaning about things negative and expecting to have these new amazing things come into my reality. I used to think it was like, oh, you just ask what you want and you get it. Yeah. And it's as simple as that. If you really want it and believe it, you'll get it. But I've started to understand lately that it's not just that. You have to be it. You have to be the vibrational match energetically in order to get that in, right?
Yeah, and that's where I think a lot of people at the beginning get stuck, because, you know, so many people have seen the movie The Secret, and that really brought manifestation to the forefront. But a lot of the premise in that book and in that documentary was kind of just like, you believe it and you'll have it. And it's not as simple as that, because it does come down to your actions and your energy as well. You embody it, because it's like, okay, if you desire a soulmate, or you desire this amazing job and all this money in the bank, what would that version of you be like, think like, feel like, act like when they already have it? And that's the vibration you want to get into. Yeah. Because as long as you're just staying back in your present reality, thoughts, actions, beliefs, all of those things, there is a major disconnect from this version of you right now today and the version of you who has everything that you want. So it's like bridging the gap. And right now today, how can you embody as if you have all those things, so that you're in the feeling of like gratitude, excitement, love, abundance, of I already have all these things and this is what my life would be like. And the second you get into that level, that energy, then that's how you magnetize the corresponding things to you, so you actually physically have it all.
Yeah, I love that. So I think in short what you're saying is you have to be it in order to get it, right? So like, let's say you really wanted a guy, a certain man. You can't just be like, oh, I really, really want that guy. So this is an amazing dream man over there. You can't just be down here with all your kind of like fears and control or whatever issues you've got going on, or like scarcity mode, but really craving and wanting that person over there. You have to embody and show up as the best version of yourself, and everything that you want to see
from that person,
right?
So it's like bridging the gap of, if you're having insecurities, doubts, negative thoughts right now, that's not what that future version of you would most likely be having, because that future, you're thinking that this person's going to make me feel whole, they're going to make me feel loved, complete, like we're going to do all these exciting things together.
Yeah.
So that version of you, that future self, would be feeling really good, really positive, excited, and loved. So if you're down here complaining, feeling insecure, like you were saying as the example, that doesn't match.
Right.
So you can't call it in. This is why you probably end up attracting people who match more of your insecurities, more of your doubts, more of your fear. That's the law of attraction, bringing you what you're focusing on and what you believe about yourself. Whereas if you believe you deserve the absolute best and you elevate your mind, body, soul into that state,
into the best version of you,
then you're going to attract the things
the equivalent.
that match that.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's such a good reminder. That's another like way of inspiring ourselves and encouraging ourselves to always be at our best. So if I want the best, if I want to have the most amazing dream man or dream job, I have to be that. I have to become exactly what that looks like. I have to show up as that every day. So let's say your dream job, you want a TV show. Like that's what my dream is, to have an amazing spiritual panel talk show. And in order to have that, I can't just be sat at home going, oh, I really want this, it's outside of myself. I have to know in every piece of my being that I deserve that, I'm worthy of it. I have to show up as that person would show up. So how would that person show up? Definitely honest and integral, you know, and confident, passionate about what they do, dedicated to serving and to like sharing knowledge with people. Confidence in myself, you know, that belief that I am the person for the job, have that, you know, that worth around it. And then probably the discipline as well. Like someone like that would probably be up every morning, constantly researching, like know all the people they're talking to. So then what does it take?
Taking the actions.
But
it goes beyond positive affirmations, and I think that's what a lot of people think, oh, I'll just think positive thoughts of I'm this, or I have that, or I'm worthy. But if you're not actually feeling it and embodying it physically and showing up in the world as that version. So it's like, I already am a TV host, or I already am like financially free, or I already have my soulmate. And then getting your actions and your energy aligned with already having, like there's no disconnect, no separation anymore between one day I'll have this, or I hope that someday maybe this works out for me. It's like, no, I already have it now. I'm going to embody it and feel it and believe it. Even though physically I might not be able to see it right now.
I was going to say, okay, so for those that are, because I had a really hard time grasping that for a long time, and I sometimes still do. For those of us that is maybe a bit confusing to, if you don't have it yet, right, in the physical realm, then how do we trick ourselves? You know, essentially we're having to pretend we have it. Is that what you're saying? So is there any way you can explain it a little bit more, even more simplified? Because, you know, although some people understand energy in the quantum field, at the same time we are these physical beings. And right now, we might not have that in our lives. We might not have that dream man or that dream job yet. So to act as if we already have it, how can we do that if we know that we don't have it right now?
It's kind of like tricking your own mind, right? And tricking the ego, because the ego is what believes that it's separate.
Right.
And without going too deep, because everything's energy, that means everything is connected. So there actually is no separation.
It's just the mind and ego that thinks it's separation.
Thinks, oh, I don't see this right now, so I don't have it. But on an energetic level, you're connected. You already do have it. There's no separation from you. So what can help is just like on the very basic level that I always bring myself back to, even when my mind does that of like, oh, but you don't have it, so you can't pretend that you have it, is like, imagine what it would feel like, oh, I wonder what it would feel like to have this. Like, make it into a fun game, and realize that it's not about like tricking your mind, or it's not about trying to like escape reality in the present moment, but it's almost like, if I know one thing's going to make me feel a little bit better, why not just allow myself to feel better for today? So even when I was really struggling financially, I could focus on the reality and be really stressed and anxious and like in a horrible place mentally, or I could just focus on, oh, I wonder how great it'll feel when I have more. I wonder, like,
so tapping into the emotions that you would have when you have it. So kind of imagine using your imagination. So for instance, if you're waiting on a visa or something, that anything that you want but it's not there yet, you know, I've actually done that before in the past, like running around the house, like going, oh my god, I got it, like, and like really feeling like I got it, and it actually did show up 2 days later. But that whole thing of like just really I guess it's trust as well, right? I think trust comes into it, where you just know in your heart, is choosing to trust, because it always is a choice. Choosing to trust that it is on its way. I have it already. It's just a matter of time when it shows up. To further that, what about when it doesn't show up? So like, this is the devil's advocate, because I've had this, the what ifs. I'm the heady person that's like, yeah, but what if you do all that and you have everything aligned and it doesn't show up? Is that a case of, well, in that case, it's not for you, you weren't supposed to have it? Or what are your views on?
I'd say there's like two ways that I look at that. So either maybe it wasn't ideally meant for you. Maybe there's actually something better. So that's where that whole affirmation, like, it's this or something better.
Love that.
So it's not like, oh, now I'm going to be stuck and have nothing. It's like, no, there's something even better on the way to me.
Yeah.
And then that allows you to still stay in a high vibration and call in good
other great things.
Great things. So there's that mindset, or there's the mindset of what might be blocking you from having it. So I remember watching this video, and the woman was saying, like, if you don't have $1 million in your bank account right now, what beliefs do you have? Like, what are the blocks that are keeping you from having it? Because energetically, there's no separation between you and that money, but do you have limiting beliefs? Do you think you're not worthy of it? Do you think it's really hard to come by? Are you still telling an old story that, like, you have to do this in order to get that?
Or does
like,
one part of you deep down that you're not even aware of think, oh, it's impossible for that to happen, or that can't come that easily?
Yeah, because those are all of the blocks that are then keeping your energy. They are keeping that block, that separation.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to touch on a little bit about separation, because I know that if this was me a few years ago, I'd be like, well, what do you mean there's no separation or the energy? So would you mind just touching on the whole things of being solid and energy? Because to some people that don't maybe know about that yet, it feels like everything is separate, right? We're separate beings that have an identity. That's what the illusion creates. This house over there, this, you know, that money, you have to do this to get that, which is all the mind, right? So is there any way you can explain a bit about what it actually means on an energy level and what you mean by no separation?
So I don't even know how to do this without getting...
Put you right on the spot there. You can get a bit deep, it's okay, that's what it's for.
So if we look at like quantum physics, there are so many amazing studies where they look at a particle, the tiniest particle, and they can split that particle into two, and what happens to one immediately, instantaneously affects the other half, no matter how far they separate
even if
them.
they're millions of miles apart.
So that shows everything that makes up our body, everything that makes up your house. Like, money is just energy.
It's all particles and atoms, right? Particles. Everything is space, atoms.
And those particles are something like, 99.9999999% space, empty space. Yeah. And there's only a tiny percent that's actually physical matter. So we don't realize it, but like, our body is mostly space. And our house is
I find
mostly
it,
space.
when I first
crazy.
heard that, I find it mind-blowing, because I'm looking at you right now and you look 100% solid, but yet I know you're real. I know that you're not actually solid. That is what my eyes are perceiving, just because I've done my own little bit of like quantum physics and science and research. Not much, but enough to know that you're actually totally not solid at all, but
it's a bunch
it
of
appears.
particles vibrating and like hitting each other, right? And there's so much empty space in there, but it does kind of manifest in a physical form. It looks that way. So that's where there is no separation in terms of, like, we are no different than money, because money is just particles and atoms and vibration.
Yeah.
We are no different than our soulmate or a friend or even someone who hurt us. Like, there is no difference in the energy. It's all the same. Everything that affects what we call into our lives is the vibration in which we're living. So this is why it can be hard to accept and hard to understand, and kind of forces you to take some responsibility, I think, which can be triggering. And I know I struggled with that a lot. But it's like when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and you're in a negative space and you're focusing on more negative things and more negative comes to you, that's because you're vibrating and attracting more of it. And you're in an energy state and you're calling in things that match your energy. So you're calling in more negatives without meaning to. On
a subconscious level, you're like calling all this stuff in and wondering, why does this keep happening to me? Why is this showing up?
And more bad stuff happened.
Right. So that's why it's so imperative to keep the thoughts and beliefs in check, right? So like checking in on your beliefs. What do I actually believe? And changing them to what you want to believe.
Yeah.
Because as I've heard Joe Dispenza say, another fantastic...
my favorite.
Yeah, he's the best. Anyone that hasn't checked out Joe Dispenza, he's amazing with reprogramming the mind, quantum physics. Like, he's just incredible to listen to. Yeah, and he always says, you are and you get what you believe. So you will only get in your life what you believe you are to be. Yeah. So and you have to make it
as possible.
And what you believe is possible, right? So like that means that if we want to have a conscious choice in what we receive, we have to keep in check our thoughts. So which ones are we choosing to believe, which ones are we feeding, and which ones are we going to let go of? Yes. And then which thought, like what beliefs are working for us and serving us, and then which ones are holding us back or blocking us from what we want. So there's a lot of work. It feels like I have so much work around this to do.
I think that's why growing up, so many of us, we look at the dreamers and like the people with the big imaginations, or people who are living out our wildest dreams. It seems so impossible. It seems like so far off.
Yeah, like, wow, what have they got that I don't get? How is that possible that they just,
And most of the people were manifesting without even realizing it. They were just so firm in their beliefs of like, I know this is possible. I'm going to do whatever it
100% takes. Happening.
Just taking all the actions. And most of them are some of the most grateful, like appreciative people as well. So they are vibrating on a really positive level.
So they've just been calling it in their whole lives.
Of like, of course I have this. Of course this is working out for me. Like, of course all these things are aligning. And they're just staying in that really high vibe state.
Right.
And then there's people... I'm going to go off on a tiny track, but like there's people who maybe don't have the best intentions, who are super rich or like have power or certain things. Yeah. But the reason they were able to manifest is just because the ego almost believed that same thing. Of course I have that. Like, of course.
Yeah. So either way, whether it came from...
There is that belief of like, this is who I am and I deserve all of this. So they're still attracting more abundance,
getting what they believe,
more things.
Whether it comes from ego or the heart or the mind, the fact is you are what you believe. And so, because I've always wondered, that always did confuse me of like, well, I get it with the people that are amazing and grateful and abundant and calling all this good stuff in and believing they deserve it. Yeah. But then how come there's also loads of people in the world that are doing amazingly and so much success and abundance or whatever they've got coming in, but they're not necessarily the nicest people.
Yeah.
Not that we have a right to judge that, because I don't really know enough about them, but that makes sense that either way, whoever
it's
and
what
whatever
you
they've
believe
done,
you deserve. So
Yeah.
whether you're coming from a place of love and like that heart-centered place,
which
or
is always the
whether-
better choice.
yeah, choose that. Or if you're coming from a place of ego and power, which brings its own problems in a different way, obviously, but
Yeah.
is that belief, that solid inner knowing that I deserve this, and of course it's mine.
It's mine, I have it.
There's no doubt, there's no insecurity,
Yeah,
there's
there's
no
nothing in
fear.
the way of you and the thing.
Yeah,
like
you're just going for it.
Yeah.
And so it's going to, at some point, maybe not immediately, but it is going to attract to you because you're embodying it fully.
Yeah, and just to be clear, in case that came across wrong, I think the differences in my mind is when you're attracting with that belief from an abundance and love and gratitude space.
Yes.
Not only do you have all that good stuff come in, but you're also, because you're operating from that space, you're also able to enjoy it and love it and have other
Yeah.
amazing things.
Exactly.
The people that are maybe very in their ego or righteous about it, or not necessarily doing the kindest of things in the world, yes, they may have all the success and the cars and the house and whatever, but on an energetic level, they're probably not going to be the happiest of people if they're not in that state of love and gratitude. So sure, they
Yeah.
might appear like they have it all perfect, but like you said, it
Yeah.
comes with its own problems. And just to clarify that,
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm
you
glad
meant
you said that. That's
I feel
what
like
I
you
meant.
meant like they
Yeah.
probably but aren't very happy, which is why I think there's also a lot of people that do have success, but no matter how much they have, they're not happy
Yeah.
at all. They're miserable, or they want more because they're not
Yeah.
coming from a place of love and gratitude.
Yes, I appreciate you saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
They
no.
they manifested it because they believed they deserved it, or like they believed that there's no separation.
Yeah.
They believed that, like, of course I'm gonna have all these things, even though there might not have had positive intentions behind it. They just had this inner knowing of like, yes, this
Yeah,
is mine.
exactly.
It's gonna happen. Whereas the people we want to, and all of you listening, I'm sure you feel it, but the people we want to replicate are those who are doing it from love, doing
Definitely.
it from positive
It's the only
vibration,
way.
because that is the sustainable way. That's the
Yeah.
only way to enjoy the process.
I was just about to say, and
and
the
the
only way to
outcome.
enjoy what you've actually got, because there's
Yeah.
no point having what your dreams
Yeah.
if when you get them you're not enjoying them. I've had that happen to me before in the past, where I've maybe not had all my dreams, but things have come true that I wanted for so long, and I got there and I wasn't happy because I was the moving target syndrome of
Yes.
it's not enough, but I want the next thing and the next thing, and it never satisfied me.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're so in that space of like, oh, life's amazing anyway, that's why I love Wayne Dyer too,
Yeah.
is he just had loads of abundance coming his way, but he loved his process, he loved his life.
Yeah.
No matter what happened, whether he had it all, he gave it all away, you know, he gave all his money and all his stuff away, but it didn't matter because he was just in that joy state of just loving life anyway. And that's the real goal for me,
Yeah.
is sure having all these dreams, but just loving all of it, loving the
Yeah.
process, loving the outcome.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point? Like,
Yeah.
what's the point in having dreams
No,
if when
then
you get them you're not happy?
Yeah, then you're always chasing. And I guess
Yeah.
for anyone listening, if you felt that way, maybe you have manifested some amazing things in your life and you're still caught looking for what's next,
Yeah.
then what I would suggest is just remembering, like remembering that those next things are already yours. So celebrate, feel them, embody them now. And that is what allows you to enjoy the present, because you're not like, oh, but I still have to do this, or
Yeah.
fear, anxiety, doubt, force, pressure. It's like, no, I'm so grateful for the things I do have and these amazing
Yeah.
things I've manifested. And I know that the next chapters are on their way to me too, and I'm just so excited about them.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
you just get to fully embody every step of the way, which naturally continues to attract and
More
manifest
and more good, yeah, rather than waiting for it to
Yeah,
happen or waiting
yeah.
to get there to be happy.
And then you enjoy the process while achieving your dreams.
And it's a
living it all out.
win-win. I love it. Okay, so lastly, for those of us and everyone out there that maybe is in a real rut at the moment, because I've been in many a ruts as well,
Me too,
even
me
lately,
too.
where I'm like, I don't know how I can get out of this, or my thinking has just become very negative, and then obviously it's a downward spiral. When it's particularly extreme, what can you say to everyone that might help them just start the catalyst, just start changing that momentum from this maybe quite bad, negative, dark space, or it just feels like you can't get out of it, and abundance and manifesting feels like so far out of reach because you're in such a negative space? Where's a really good place to start to turn it around?
I'm gonna go totally full circle here.
You go, girl.
And it comes back to the awareness, which it was our very first topic on the podcast.
Love a good full circle.
Yeah.
See what you did there.
Yeah. It comes back around to awareness of where you're focusing your thoughts and your energy. And so no matter what, I mean, I've had clients who were in the darkest places and struggling with suicide and talking about thoughts, talking about, you know, if you can just grasp one thought that makes you feel more positive, if you can just focus on one thing that worked out for you that day, if you can start slowly shifting your brain, because your brain is programmed to focus on more of what it already believes.
Right.
So
and
that's
a brain
where that negative spiral pulls us down and becomes so strong. But if you can shift into a few of the positive things and keep just like, no matter how hard it is, find something positive for you, you can start to slowly shift your brain to start focusing, oh yeah, this happened that was positive, or oh, I still have this,
or I'm grateful for this,
and I'm grateful, and it starts to
change your energy,
spiral back upwards.
I love that. And the purpose of that is to just change your energy and how you perceive things, right? From really, really bad. And again, it's a tough one because I'm not discrediting the external struggle, right? The things that are actually really, really going on as well out around you. And so this doesn't solve all the problems, but it's just, I wanted to have something for people to, well, if they are in a really bad rut, it's changing the energy, right? So like what you're focusing on, what you're perceiving, how can I shift that to cultivate a more positive energy and a better energy? Because if you have a better energy and better thoughts, you will get more of that. And eventually, it might take time. It might not be that easy, but eventually the goal is, right, to then have more positive thoughts than not, and then things are going to show up to match that.
Yeah, exactly. Because no matter what you're going through, unfortunately, we can't change that external circumstance fully, right? There are things that are totally out of our control. That
are painful beyond belief.
Yeah. And so it's not about discrediting, as you said. It's not about like pretending everything's magic and rainbows when there's a lot of pain. But it is about choosing where you can focus, and if you can just find that one tiny silver lining, or that one
that faith,
little
that
lesson,
hope.
that faith, you know, trust that this is happening for you and that you will get through, and just any positive thing, whether that is focusing on your thoughts, whether that's making time for, you know, movement, exercise, laughter,
feel good things that make you laugh or happy, or just even if it's glimpses of it, right? Just
anything
moments
that can just help alleviate a little bit of the suffering, so that you can keep working day by day to plug away and shift into a more positive space, and allow you to elevate out of the vibration of that heaviness. Because the more you stay down there, the more negative your thoughts will become, the more you unfortunately attract that matches that. So just constantly shifting upwards, so you can start to see the sun peeking out from the clouds and start to find a little bit more each day to support you and help you on your path.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for saying that. And one thing I want to add to that just before we wrap up, is when you were speaking, it just reminded me to remind others, including myself, that the mind causes a lot of extra suffering. So although you have the already painful things going on in your life, which we cannot control, the mind makes everything 1,000 times worse. And a lot of our suffering does come from our mind and our perception and our thoughts. So I think what Kara's saying is, regardless of what's happening, that part, yes, you cannot control, but the little areas you can control is your thoughts about those things. Or you know, for instance, if something really bad, you can either be like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening to me, why me, and anger, or you can choose to try and see it as, there's going to be lessons in this. I know one day this is all going to be, I'll look back and it will all be a blessing, or at least it was a real learning curve or something needed. And it doesn't last forever. Everything passes, right? Good and bad. This too shall pass, as they say. And so it's just remembering that although you can't control that, you can control certain things. So just focus on the things you can control, which is changing those little thoughts, the gratitude, the focusing, where your attention goes.
Yeah, your energy flows where your attention goes. So even though the external is a certain way, where are you focusing your attention? So that you can start to flow that energy in a more supportive way, in something that's going to help uplift you and just keep you moving on the path of where you want to go versus where you are or where you're feeling stuck.
Yes.
Hey.
Oh, and actually, guys, that is the very last episode of season 1, lucky number 7. And
my favorite.
the best number. And we wanted just to let you know that next season we are going to be going through the coaching again for different topics, and we've got amazing thought leaders coming on that are experts in their field, and with so many exciting different minds and human beings coming on to interview, as well as all of the different interactions and the things that you've written in. We want to address those topics. So that's going to be another addition, is anything that came up in season 1, any of the emails we received, any of the DMs about requested topics. Cara and I are going to be tackling them through coaching, through discussions, and through the interviews, so that you can get some amazing tools and information about those topics.
We are so excited for this next chapter, and I just want to say thank you again for everyone who's tuned in and sent in comments or questions or feedback on the podcast, who's been engaging with us along the way. Can't wait for what's next.
No, sorry, I keep jumping in, I get overexcited. I was going to say, and thank you to yourselves for doing the work and actually showing up every single week, implementing the tools and the different things that you can take from listening and sharing it with other people, even if you've gotten more vulnerable with your friends, or just giving yourself permission to be more honest about your struggles. Whatever you've taken from this, that's all we care about. Is we hope that in some way it has been helpful or beneficial to your lives, and at the very least we hope you've enjoyed listening to it, and it's given you some hope and made you feel less alone in knowing that there are so many of us going through the same, if not very similar things.
Yes, and that you're so powerful, like more powerful than you even know. So just continue on the path, continue choosing yourself and moving towards all those dreams.
Amazing. And if you ever get stuck, just re-listen. Sometimes these things are really hard to shift, or at least I told myself that. And so just daily reminders, because sometimes we make a bit of progress and then we revert back, which is, I'm speaking on behalf of myself here. So like just re-listening back to a podcast over and over, if you just need that reminder about manifestation, for instance, like, ooh, how do I do it again? Or what do I need to keep in check? Just those affirmations, and keep feeding yourself the good information.
100%.
All right, we love you guys, and it's been such a pleasure and honor to share everything with you, and we cannot wait to share more next season 2.
Bye guys.
Bye.